Well, we've got another episode of We Don't Color on the Dog. This is with the Council on Aging. Doge is having an impact locally, but before I'll let y'all introduce yourselves before we get started.
Sure, I'm Emily Echevarria. I'm the Marketing Communications Director for Council on Aging of West Florida, a nonprofit that serves seniors in Escambia and Santa Rosa County.
Alicia Macklin, Director of Senior Volunteer Programs here at the Council on Aging. I have two staff members, coordinators. One is the supervisor for what's called the Foster Grandparent Program. Absolutely nothing to do with the foster care system. Persons 55 and over who are in daycares, Head Starts, public schools, advocating, nurturing, tutoring, and mentoring children and youth. And then also have senior companions. Those are all 55 and over as well. And those persons are in homes as well as in assisted living, rehabilitation facilities for persons closer to their age, and helping people get respite, a break from being a caregiver. So that is
The last time we talked, there was a freeze on funding, and we immediately got on the airways and got something out, and it didn't last long. Yes, now with AmeriCorps, if there's a new way to keep y'all from getting funds, talk about that.
So on, was it Wednesday of last week?
Wednesday night,
late at night, we got word that most of the people, the staff at the national federal level for AmeriCorps were laid off. Many people know AmeriCorps as volunteer programs for young adults, but AmeriCorps Seniors is a part of that, and that's the volunteers she was talking about, our senior companions and foster grandparents. So they're a part of that. If that program isn't functioning because there's no staff to make it function, we were unable to pull down the funds for the stipends for those volunteers and to pay the staff that run that program in our office.
And the interesting thing about that, Rick, is that it's being put out there as this is AmeriCorps, it's NCCC, and this doesn't have any, people aren't seeing AmeriCorps Seniors, so they don't see that the connection is in 2020, what was once Senior Corps that Congress never came for, because they're always, these older people that know work for us and they vote and they're good American citizens and they're doing everything they need to do. So Congress didn't bother Senior Corps. So AmeriCorps said, oh gosh, we're the younger ones. They're always coming for our throats. What do? Let's put Senior Corps underneath us. And then that way we'll protect ourselves. So now Senior Corps became AmeriCorps Seniors underneath AmeriCorps. So when you attack AmeriCorps, guess what, Rick?
Right.
You're attacking us too. So if people keep saying, oh, well, they haven't put anything out officially about AmeriCorps Seniors. I can't get in touch with my portfolio manager, the person who's in charge of what we do here. Can't get in touch with our regional portfolio manager. Can't get in touch with our regional our administration in DC. Everyone is on admin leave, Rick. So what do?
Well, so they didn't freeze the funds. They just made it so you can't get the funds.
Ta-da!
And then today we found out we have access to do our monthly pull down, so we'll be able to pay out for April. But beyond that,
for March,
we just for March. Okay.
Yes, March.
But for the future going forward, we don't know. So once again, we're just in this moment of chaos, in this moment of uncertainty. It's also Volunteer Appreciation Month, so couldn't be worse timing.
Great month to punch me in the face.
Yeah, we have a big appreciation dinner for all these senior volunteers. And the thing about these programs is that they're serving children in schools and in child development centers. They're serving other older adults to help them live independently, stay out of facilities. But this program is as much for those volunteers as it is for the people they serve.
Exactly.
They all tell me when I go in and do an impact story and talk about their experience, they say, I don't know what I would be doing with my time. I would be more sedentary. I would be less engaged. I would be less connected.
Right.
We have beautiful friendships that form among the senior companions. Volunteers that serve children, they just have a heart for children. They want to be there. They're all these children's grannies. So it's part of those children's village that is going away if we can't keep these programs going.
Well, and that's how many hours of service they put in. And I'm like, how can you negate showing you actual, and with our programs, Rick, we have metrics. We have compliance. We're not just out here just willy-nilly spending these dollars. We actually have the paperwork to show you every single solitary thing that we're doing and how we're being fiscally responsible. And Council on Aging is being good stewards of the fund.
Well, and you look at just the foster grandparent program. There's so many great stories about that. It's a big part of Escambia Children's Trust, some of the initiatives they've started. It's been big in the inner city schools where, like you said, building that support network for kids whose home life is not always that great, and to give them something special. And you're right, the measurables are there. We've seen it in the partnership schools. We've seen it throughout the community in the community centers. It has been a vital program for the community.
Absolutely. And I was just on a meeting with Laura Gilliam, United Way of West Florida, with that particular Escambia Children's Trust initiative that's in the schools, the Healthy Schools Escambia. And what do I say to them? If I don't know if I can keep my grannies in Global Learning Academy, in OJ Sims, where I can tell you specific stories of children who were not realizing gains in their vocabulary, their literacy, and now all of a sudden, this child has gone from here to there. Mm-hmm. Because of the granny being in the school, not only saying, hey, come here, let me give you a hug, way more than that, but now let's sit down with me one-on-one and let me make sure you're learning, because the teacher doesn't have this kind of time for you, but I do. You cannot negate all of that is happening in these schools. These children are going to be the leaders of our country. How do you want them to learn? And then when it comes to the senior companions, they're keeping people. You don't have to use your Medicaid and your Medicare because we're taking care of you here. So you're not in a long-term care facility, as Emily was just saying. You're not in a rehab. You're not at an ER, and you're not in a hospital putting stress on Baptist and Sacred Heart and HVA Florida West because a senior companion is here. So if you don't get the touchy-feely part of it, then you should get the ROI, the return on investment that these programs are giving to those communities and these states. Yeah.
Well, right now where we're at is we do have a congressman now, Jimmy Patronis. And I would recommend viewers and readers of the paper and the blog and viewers of the podcast to reach out to Congressman Patronis and tell him they don't necessarily understand all the implications of some of these cuts that they're making. And at least somebody, if they're going to lay these people off or put them on furlough, then someone needs to be responsible for being sure that the money that's budgeted and allocated, and in y'all's case, y'all have already spent it. You're getting reimbursed for what you've already put the money out for. So it puts y'all in a lurch because reserves are hard to come by, and these programs depend on reimbursement.
They do. Absolutely. Thank you for understanding that, because that's exactly it for those who don't quite get and think that we're just somehow running around with this big money bag. That is not how it works at all. We wish. Exactly.
Well, guys, thank you so much for coming on. We'll get this up as soon as we can. I'll share it with y'all, and I'll send a copy to Congressman Patronis, too. So we'll do that.
I appreciate it. Thank you so much.